for now, let's move on to the KJV. Now, the KJV, let's be honest, for what it was at the time it was, is a unbelievable feat. They based most of what they did on Tyndale's version. There are some who have argued that the major differences between Tyndale's translation and the KJV are really just 5 words. Tyndale was a master of language and actually coined some phrases, and so things that you would know. And anyway, with that said, the KJV took a lot from Tyndale, and they did a very good job with what they had. The problem with the KJV is that they use late manuscripts. Now, what does that mean? It means that when the KJV was being translated, some of our earliest manuscripts like Sinaiticus, Vaticanus, Ephraimi, these texts had not been found yet. And because of that, you have some major, you have late manuscripts. They're pulling from manuscripts that are like 10th century and later. Because of this, you have verses that have crept in. So, for instance, major changes and or what I would say additions to the text are just 3 examples would be Matthew 18:11, Luke 9:56, and then, of course, the famous, very famous, which is in most Bibles at this point, Mark 16:9 and following, the longer ending of Mark. Now, some people are going to say, yeah, I'm glad that's in my Bible. Okay, that fair enough. And in like the ESV and the NASB, you're going to have the longer ending of Mark. It's just going to be in brackets. And the KJV is not going to tell you that. I think the New King James Version does. They have notes on that, letting you know that this is not in the later manuscripts. With that said, are there some good things in the KJV? Yeah, they got some things right. Believe it or not, and I shouldn't say believe it or not. There are people who think that it's inspired. I don't believe it's inspired. Mark 7:19 is a great example of how the KJV translated something right and
correctly, right?
Yeah, and did justice.
And, I like a lot of the Psalms, like the majestic messianic Psalms in the King James, are beautiful. But it has to do with that English, that, I don't know, is that called Elizabethan English or whatever? It's the Shakespeare English, which has a grand might to it that we don't really have today. So I appreciate that for that reason too, for the different register of English. But translations, if we call translations inspired, what we're doing, we're expanding the canon, right? Because it's just you're walking down a broken branch at that point. Yeah, we have to be careful of what we mean by inspired, and is it a revelation? In other words, is the King James Version a revelation from heaven that then now I don't even need the Hebrew anymore? I don't even need the Greek. I don't, the Dead Sea, discovering the Dead Sea Scrolls or anything like this has no bearing now because it's been revealed once and for all in the King James Version. And then if that's true, what does that mean? Does that mean all languages of the world need to translate from the King James Version? Or can they translate from the Hebrew and Greek again? So if we're going to go produce, let's say, a new translation in Chinese, or Arabic, or Swahili, what do the translators work from? The King James Version? Or can they actually learn Hebrew and Greek? So there's a whole thing, a whole can of worms. Can of worms or can of beans that we open up here with that.
Thank you so much for watching this video. Tell us your thoughts on this subject by leaving a comment in the comment section. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and enable those notifications. And we'll see you in the next video.